This is the plaintiff, Dorita Burgess. She says the defendant, her daughter-in-law, owes her money, which she collected from her deceased son's employer. Her son's boss gave the defendant money to cover the funeral expenses, and the defendant never gave it to her for the actual funeral. She's very surprised by the defendant's actions because they had a very good relationship. But the woman turned devious on her. She's suing for $5,000, the amount she's owed. This is the defendant, Deandra Augustin. She says she and the plaintiff's son were in the midst of getting a divorce when he passed away. She doesn't feel she owes the plaintiff a thing because they never had any discussion of funeral expenses or anything like that. In fact, when the plaintiff's son died, she treated her like she didn't even exist and has some nerve suing her here today. She's accused of fouling up a funeral.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, terrible family crisis. The plaintiff says her daughter-in-law didn't turn over the money that her deceased son's employer gave her for the son's funeral. Now, the defendant says she was about to divorce the plaintiff's son, and the plaintiff treated her terribly. It's the case of its death. Now we part.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Okay, Dorita Burgess.
Yes.
You are suing Deandra Augustin for $5,000 that you say she owes you in death benefits for your son to pay for the funeral, plus a loan that needs paying off, plus pain and suffering. Tell me what's going on, Ms. Burgess.
Well, my son was married to Deandra, and they married for like probably 4 years. And just before his pass, they were having some difficulties, which...
Your son passed away.
Yes, my son passed away on March the 23rd of this year. And just before they...
Was it sudden or?
Yes, but he had a heart problem.
A heart problem.
Yeah, and
okay.
They were going through some problems. Stuff, and I had talked to him, and you know what she claimed he was doing, and I had scolded him and everything, and you know they tried to make up a little bit, but it didn't work. But beyond that, when he passed on March 23rd, I called Miss Deandra, and we meet up at the hospital and everything, and it was like 9 of us there with my son's body, and everybody walked in and gave me a hug and was crying, except her, which is surprisingly. I mean, even if you and your husband don't have a good term, I mean, he's dead now. And so anyway, we went home and we sit down and discussed the funeral. And she sit there with us. I never excluded her out of nothing. She went with me to the funeral home. The funeral home gave us a package and asked her if this is okay. I let her pick up the casket. Me and she will look at the casket, and I let her pick it out. She goes along with everything. Every time I had something to do, I call her and said, you want to come, you want to go, whatsoever. She never mentioned nothing about money. So Did you? No, I didn't mention it to her at that time. So I keep paying, and I noticed she not saying.
Wait, who signs the contract with the funeral company?
Only me.
Oh, okay.
But she was right there. But she was mom. She didn't say a word. So it's my son. So he has to bury somewhere, somehow.
Right.
So anyway, so during the course, we're preparing for the funeral, paying for everything. She come to my house every day. We talk about it. She never say a word. My witness here called her a couple of days before the funeral and asked her what she going to contribute to the funeral. She said when she get paid on Thursday.
Come on up. And your name is?
Francilia.
And you're her friend?
Very good friends.
Okay, so, and you call her because it's kind of awkward, I guess, for you to call her. And what conversation do you have with her?
I called her the day the flowers were supposed to be picked up. And she didn't call me right away, but she texted me and let me know she was at work. Then she called me back and she said she cannot give anything that day. The viewing is the Thursday. I spoke with her the Wednesday. I said to her, well, the flowers had to be paid for. The complete payment has to be made before they can release the body. That has to be taken care of.
And she says what to you?
She said to me she wouldn't have any money until she was not going to get paid. That's her exact word. She's not going to get paid until the following day, which is apparently the Thursday.
Okay.
And at that point in time,
she would give what?
She didn't say give an amount.
Oh, okay.
She did not give an amount. She will give what she at that time.
Okay.
That was basically, and I said to her at that point in time, well, call your mother-in-law and you'll clarify everything so that this could be taken care of.
Right. All right. So then what happens?
So, all right. And so after that day, she come by and she gave me $300. Okay. So she said that she had talked to Goldburn employer at his work, and they were giving us a benefit from where he works. So she said, soon as she get it, she's going to give it to me to help with the funeral expense.
Okay. Mm-hmm. He worked where?
He worked for UPS.
What was the money that she's talking about?
When I called them up, they said they were going to send me a package of information to fill out for a death payment, like when you die.
It's a death payment.
Like
okay. Did you receive it?
Yes, I did.
How much was it?
$10,000.
$10,000. Okay. Did you ever tell her that you would pay her some of that?
I told her that I would help out, but I never told her an exact amount.
Okay. And then what happened? By the time the 10,000 came, you didn't really feel that generous?
No, it just...
What happened? You and your husband were like on the outs at the end?
When he was sick, well, the last few months prior to him going sick and going into the hospital, we were just living in the same space, but we didn't have any sort of relationship.
Was there a reason why?
Yes.
You thought he had a love child?
He did.
He did
when
have a love child.
I went to Miami.
But a love child that from during the time he was with you?
I don't know exactly when the child was born. I don't know the full details on this. All I know is in October of 2012, I went to Miami, and he informed me that if I didn't come back, he was going to go visit his daughter, and he sent me pictures of this little girl that he said was his daughter.
Okay, well, how old was the kid? And was it during you or before you?
About 3.
So was that during you or before you? It was during you?
That's like the same time we got together, we got married.
Okay.
I don't know much information on the little girl. I never asked him into details. I just told him I wanted a divorce.
That's kind of weird. Your husband says if you don't come home, so you had already left on a vacation?
In Miami, yes.
Were you on vacation or were you moving? What was the
vacation?
Deal? You were on vacation without your husband. Your husband says, if you don't come home, I'm going to visit my child. And you say, what child? And you've been married to him how long?
At that point, 3 years.
That wasn't odd to you?
Yes, it was. Because it was just like, when I was going on vacation, I told him the whole time, I'm going on vacation. Do you want to come? He said, no, he doesn't want to go there, blah, blah, blah. And he wanted me to stay home. He was trying to control me. And I said, listen, I'm going to go. When I got there, he said, you need to come back home or I'm going to visit my daughter.
Or I'm going to visit my daughter. Why don't you just visit your daughter anyway?
Well, he didn't want me to know about her.
All right. In any event, things weren't rocky between you two. You get the death benefit. Are you the beneficiary on the death benefit?
Yes.
All right. So you agree that you told her that you would give her some money of the death benefit, but you disagree that you ever told her an amount. Actually, I'm not even sure she says that you told her an amount.
And we never discussed an amount because I honestly didn't think they were going to pay more than $1,000.
Right. But then when they gave you 10, you felt less generous, not more generous.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it was just like when the whole time I was with her, present for her, with the whole preparing for the funeral, everything like that. I was present, but I don't know what the final tab came up to. The Sunday, my mom gave her about $500.
Put your hand down. I'm sorry.
My mom gave her about $600. I'm not sure the exact amount. The Sunday, when I got paid the Thursday, I gave her $500, not $300.
Okay.
And the whole funeral went on. When his family was there, no one acknowledged me except for Miss Francine. Everybody was just like they made disgusted faces at me. I never met his father before the funeral. After the service, I went up to him. I said, my name is Deandra. He looked at me and said, I'm not interested in meeting you. So it was just like no one else in his family said anything to me or my family. We were just present.
Do you have children with him?
No.
Okay.
It was just like we were just there just to be there. And then after the whole fact, the day of the burial, we're at her house. And I'm like, can I get a program and a funeral card? Because the prayer card, I never received one. I asked his sister, I asked about 4 times. Up to this day, I can't get one. That's little petty stuff. So in my head is, you can't give me a prayer card. Why should I try to give you money now? And I never said, oh, I'm going to give you X amount of dollars to help out.
So if I've got this correct, it looks something like this. He passes away. You pick out the funeral. You sign the contract. Once that's in process, it's the day before the funeral. You say to her, look, you've got to pony something up. You send her to find out. She says, okay, I'll kick something in. She kicks something in, whether it's the 300 or the 500. And then when, in relationship to the funeral, do you find out that there's a death benefit from his employment?
couple days before the funeral.
Before the funeral, she's the one who tells you
about. I didn't know about
Right.
it. Yeah, and she said she's going to give me it to pay her because I had borrowed the rest of money from Miss Francine, and she said that she was going to give me it.
Okay. So you're suing for two things: the funeral issue, which I think we've covered, and then the other thing you're suing for is you loaned your son money for a car.
Yeah, and I think you have the evidence that she sent me the text that she's going to give me the money as soon as she sold the car. She already sold the car.
So did you sell that car?
Yes, I sold the car in August.
So you took it and you sold the car, and you know that
this is after I received. I never sold the car.
Did anybody ever go to court for? I
No.
take it nobody went to court for the estate. There's no like.
There is no estate.
Well, there's an estate. There's 10 grand. I don't know. I don't know if that's part of his estate or that's your benefit. I guess that's your benefit. It's not really part of the estate, but certainly the $2 grand on the car isn't the estate.
Well, the car that he had is a 1992 Civic, Honda Civic. To my knowledge, 1992.
What'd you sell it for?
$800, and nobody even wanted to pay $800. When she gave him the money for the car, I wasn't present. I didn't know she gave him money for a car. I didn't know he was getting a car. He popped up, he left, just like how he always leaves. He popped up, he called me and said, "Oh, I'm outside. Can you open up the driveway gate?" I come outside and he's in a car. You can't sue me for $2,000 for a car that's not even valued at $500.
So if this defendant said, yeah, I'll pay for part of the funeral, but never said how much, is this person responsible for paying anything?
I think she is. It all depends if she actually made a contract.
Well, that's the question. Is it a contract when you say I'll pay for something, but you don't say how much?
If depending, if that's in paper, yeah. But if she didn't, I don't think so.
Is that a contract?
Well, did she say it in court?
Well, no, she just said it to the plaintiff. I'll pay for part of it. Is that a contract?
Well, she can be held.
You got a yes or no here?
Yes.
Okay. Going inside the courtroom.
She said that she didn't know how much the funeral cost. This is what the funeral home presented the day to me and her.
Yeah, here you've got some problems, Ms. Burgess, and let me explain to you what the problems are. You know, at best, what you have described is someone promised to help you out and didn't. That's not a contract. It's someone, and you very clearly have described that you weren't relying on that promise in order to pay for the funeral. You already had the contract with the funeral. You already had everything in motion. And then she promised to do something and she didn't. And that may make her a lousy person, but it's not an enforceable contract. I could promise that I'm going to pay you $1,000, and then if I change my mind, I don't feel like it for whatever reason because of the petty things, okay, then you can't sue me and say we had a contract. What you had was me saying I'm going to gift you something, and then I changed my mind about the gift. I think that the $10,000 that was the death benefit is a benefit that's paid to her. It's not paid to the estate. She's the beneficiary under it. It's kind of like a life insurance policy, and she's the beneficiary and she received it. She doesn't have to share that with you. But then on the car issue, you didn't loan her $2,000. You loaned him $2,000 and he didn't pay it. I presume that what you can do is sue the estate and then go to, I don't think you want to do all that, but then you have to go to probate court. There has to be an estate created. And then on a car that's a 1992 car, do you think that, that's because that's the only asset in the estate, unless he owned property or something else. Did he own property or anything?
No.
Honey, let me tell you. I know you're sad. I know you're angry. But this just isn't going anywhere on this evidence. I have to rule in favor of the defendant, and then all I can tell you is go back to grieving for the important thing. Good luck, folks.
So the plaintiff comes out empty-handed. Step on over here and next to me. Tell me what's going through your mind right now after this verdict.
Well, you know what? It is what it is. Life goes on, and I wish her the best. Me and she didn't have no issues whatsoever. She say in there that...
Why did your family treat her the way she described at the funeral?
She didn't get treated that way. She treat herself that way. If you come late for everything, what do you expect?
All right, you putting all this behind you?
I'm putting it behind me.
Okay.
Life goes on.
All right, right around this way.
I'm going to make her for her.
All right, step on in here and tell me, you satisfied how this is wound up now?
Yes, I'm very satisfied because I know that I was wrongly being sued.
Why is she saying here now that you weren't treated like that?
Because she has a very nasty attitude and she doesn't see when she does it because that's just how she is naturally. She has a nasty attitude.
You were hurt by that treatment?
Yes, I was. Me, my entire family, everybody was just like, why were you even there?
Okay. Harvey.
Short story, the key term of the contract, the amount was missing, so it's unenforceable. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.